So, this is going to be my review of Daredevil Yellow. Now, if you don't know what Daredevil Yellow is, it's part of the Marvel Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale stories, which consist of Spider-Man Blue, this story, Hulk Gray, and the recently finished Captain America White. Now, Daredevil Yellow, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb in particular, I know he can be very polarizing, but this is back when Jeff Loeb, this is like Long Halloween Jeff Loeb. This is Superman for All Seasons Jeff Loeb. This is good Jeff Loeb. Don't worry. And of course, Tim Sale on the artwork, it's nothing short of fantastic. So if you're not aware of what Daredevil Yellow is, it's more or less a story, it's more or less a retelling of the early days of Daredevil when he had the classic yellow and red costume. The story is more or less about Daredevil thinking about Karen Page, who at this point had been killed by Bullseye, and the story follows around Daredevil. It's a retelling of Daredevil's early days and how he went from the yellow costume to the red costume, as well as, more importantly, his beginning romance with Karen Page. This is a very beautiful story. I think Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb really knew how to write this character, and he really knew how to write the voices for all these characters. He knew how to balance the. What I really like about this with Daredevil is that he knew how to Jeff Loeb in this story knew how to balance the line between basically, doing the dark Frank Miller-esque stuff with the campy Stan Lee era stuff. He made a perfect blend of a fusion between Stan Lee and Frank Miller put together. This is, if you're looking for I'm going to say this up front, if you're looking for a Daredevil story to jump into, if you're looking to read more Daredevil comics, not only would I suggest, of course, the Frank Miller era with Klaus Janson, as well as the Bendis and Malieve stuff and the Ed Brubaker stuff, I would also recommend this, as of course the classic Stan Lee stories as well. But yeah, this would be up there. If you're looking for good Daredevil stories, I would definitely recommend Daredevil Yellow. It's very self-contained, and it gives you a gist of Daredevil in his early days. But yeah, going back to what I was talking about. So like I said, this is about Daredevil, and it starts out with him trying to find his father's killer, who in this continuity is the Fixer. It's a very cool story that follows Matt, and it follows him trying to find, justice for his father, as well as balance his life as Daredevil, because at this time, he's kind of, like I said, this is Daredevil starting out, and in here, Matt is very new. He's very new to this, and he's had to really work at this, and he was inspired by, the likes of Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. What I also like is just some of the camaraderie between Foggy and Matt and Karen. If you enjoyed the interactions between them and the Netflix TV show, then you'll more than likely love the interactions between the three of them, because Loeb knew how to write these characters. He knew how to write the dialogue and just kind of all the fun, because again, it does feel like a fusion between Stan Lee dialogue and Frank Miller dialogue. What I also like in here is that there's no real set villain. You'd think Kingpin would be it, and they do kind of allude to Kingpin being the one behind this, and obviously, yeah, we know he was kind of, in most continuities, he is the one who had Jack Murdock killed, but really, it doesn't really go the Kingpin route. Instead, it's more like Daredevil, not really dealing with one villain, but more like several villains. He fights Electro, he battles the Owl and the Purple Man as well. So there's not really one set villain in here. It's much like with a lot of Loeb Sale stuff, where it's an overarching plot, and there's usually one villain, not in here. But the main thing is that he is dealing with multiple villains at once. It's an ongoing story and an ongoing narrative, but there isn't really a set villain in here. It's more like Daredevil trying to fight his way through all these different villains, one of which being a Spider-Man villain. And of course we get the Owl, another major Daredevil villain, and of course the Purple Man. A lot of people seem to forget that the Purple Man, even though he became more of a Jessica Jones villain, he kind of started out as a villain for Daredevil. He was more of one of Daredevil's earlier rogues, and eventually he kind of evolved into, much like with Sabretooth, who was initially an Iron Fist villain and he became a Wolverine enemy. It's much like that, but with why do I keep trying to say... I know his name's Zebediah Kilgrave, but yeah, Purple Man kind of evolved from being a Daredevil villain to kind of like an everyone's villain until Bendis kind of made him an enemy for Jessica Jones and a lot of the street-level characters. It's a very dark story, but not too dark. It's not like a dark and gritty story. It does kind of touch on some matters here and there. I don't want to spoil those, but it does... It's a very lighthearted, even though at this point, this is after Karen's death, and Matt's just writing this all out to, he's kind of writing this all out to basically, cope with Karen's death, as well as, look back on his father and how he dealt with his father's murder. So... It's, again, a very beautiful story. I think Tim Sale does beautiful artwork in here. I love the yellow and red costume. I know it looks super campy, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to look at. It's so out there and so different from Daredevil's other, the red costume we all know it to be. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, the yellow costume's kind of awesome. So yeah. So again, if you're looking for a cool Daredevil story and you're looking for somewhere to jump on, not only would I suggest Bendis, Brubaker, and the Frank Miller stuff, and of course Stan Lee stuff, I would say if you really want to find something short, sweet, and to the point and gets you all to know all about classic Daredevil, yeah, go pick up Daredevil Yellow. It's a beautiful story. It's very optimistic. It does have some dark tones, but at the same time it does have that fun comic book feel. So yeah. Once again, I highly recommend Daredevil Yellow. But once again, if you've read the story, just comment below, let me know what you guys think of it. And once again, I hope you all enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later.